Phantom House. This happened in June of 2022, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. My buddy lives in a rural Welsh village, one with a population of what I assume to be less than 100. Houses are fairly spread out, and it's around 3-4 miles away from the nearest town or other village. When I head up there to stay with him, we enjoy going on nighttime walks along the country lanes, since it's really quiet and there are barely any cars out after 10 p.m, and this particular night was no different. I feel the need to include that his house is connected to an old chapel, and he's responsible for cleaning it, looking after it, etc. Beforehand, we had been fucking around in the chapel, throwing footballs around and having a laugh. This is relevant to the story, I think anyway. But we thought nothing of it, and less than half an hour later, we headed out to go on a walk. It was me, my buddy Lucas, and our other friend Reese. Now Lucas knows these roads like the back of his hand. He's lived there practically his whole life, and has walked this particular route that we headed along more times than he can count. We were walking, and ended up just about a mile away from the nearest village, where an old abandoned hotel used to be. The building's been knocked down by now, but there are fences blocking where it used to be. This didn't creep us out much, but what happened next did. Lucas pointed through a thick layer of trees at what seemed to be a house with no lights on at all, and despite walking this way many times before, he had never seen the house. He insisted that the architecture was a lot different to the houses we usually saw around this area, sort of European or Germanic, as he claimed. His family is German. He wanted to get a closer look, but the house was blocked off by a construction fence too, which we thought was really weird. I shone my phone light through the fence, and we got a quick glimpse of the actual building, but then came a weird feeling of dread. And we all got this feeling at the same time. It was eerily quiet, no wind, no bugs, no nothing. Now feeling incredibly uncomfortable, we continued along the trail, a little further away from the house. Nearby was a wall blocking off a field, and so we sat on the wall to kind of comprehend what had just happened. Across the field, about a mile off, maybe less, was the village's church. We had tried to laugh the situation off, covering our uncomfortable feelings with jokes, until a single church bell ring rang out from across the field. Just one. By this time, it must have been around 11:30 p.m, so it wouldn't have made sense for the church bell to be ringing. And even so, it only rang once, which wouldn't have made sense either. We all kind of looked at each other, and Reese insisted that she felt like we shouldn't have been there, speaking exactly what we were all thinking. Me and Lucas agreed, and we quickly continued onto the path and through a wooded area. The walk back to Lucas's place was long and grueling, and the feeling of dread didn't help at all. We didn't speak about the experience the whole way back, until we felt safe enough to. Lucas was hung up on the fact that he had never seen that house before, and had never felt that uncomfortable in this particular area before, despite doing this nighttime walk countless times. So we searched around the area on a live satellite system, and discovered that where the house should have been, there was nothing but a patch of dirt and some shrubbery. The whole situation seemed completely fucked to us. Everything just felt wrong. The house, the church bell, even the feeling we got whilst being in that area, the feeling of not being welcomed. Reese did a quick search online on ley lines and if any of them cross each other in the area. Ley lines are prehistoric lines that run across the UK, and some believe them to be hotspots of paranormal activity. And much to our horror, we discovered that exactly where we were sitting on that wall, 2 ley lines crossed each other. To us, that explained why we must have felt uncomfortable, like we weren't welcome. We decided to go back the next day, and in the daylight, discovered that the house was not there. The 3 of us were completely sure that we had seen a building, Lucas going as far as to say that he could see the architectural structure of the house. Even in the comfort of the daylight, the area just felt wrong. It sounds insane, I know, but it's been itching my brain for the past few weeks, and I needed to tell someone about it, because my family don't believe me. Lucas and Reese's families don't believe them. I'm hoping by getting this story out there, that someone might have an explanation as of why the house was there, and then suddenly wasn't. An explanation as of why we felt so scared and dreading what would happen if we stayed in that area. I can't help but think it had something to do with us fucking around in the chapel. Maybe I sound completely insane, but this whole situation doesn't sit right with me. We all felt the same thing, and we're certain that the house was there that night and then wasn't the next. We know what we saw and what we felt, but have no explanation for it.